I'm here with UFC welterweight Orion Cosce. How are you, man?
Doing good, doing good. Much better than I was when I was recovering from the injury, but I feel great, man. It's so fucking awesome to be able to train heavy again. I'm lifting hard. I just got done doing some mitt work earlier with the boxing bands. Fucking brutal. Love it. You can change it up the way it resists and everything. A lot of people are going to look at it and think like, how do you change the setting? But it's like all you have to do is like you can do a crossover on your back, or you can make it to where like the upper clips in the back connect to the legs instead to add more like stretchable resistance, forcing you to like keep going. And 20 minutes of mitt work, and I was like, holy shit, like I'm feeling this. I got doing some sparring rounds, at 3 5-minute rounds and 2 3-minute rounds, just to give my client a little bit of a break. But he did good. He's more of a jiu-jitsu guy. He's a bigger boy, but he did awesome. And for me, though, personally, it just feels awesome to be even fucking doing all that shit again.
Right. So before we even get to that, I saw that you were getting tattooed the other day. What were you getting done?
I got a touch up on my Shenron tattoo, so brighter colors again to bring it out more. Um, you know, I'm not going to spoil too much, but I do plan on adding more to it. We're just going to add more color to the Dragon Balls itself. We're going to add more colors. A lot of it was green and yellow, but we need to do more yellow, brown, and orange now for the next part with some red. And then keep going from there. Update the head a little bit too with the eyes and the horns. But then I also got this fern for my wife, so put her on my rib.
Right, that's right. I haven't talked to you since you've been married, so I did want to congratulate you. I read that there was a hurricane during your honeymoon.
It's fucking awesome. I wanted to run out there butt naked just to try to see like if I could fight it, but it's supposed to be a category 5. Like literally, they're saying it's cat 3, and I'm like, oh, that's not too bad. Then like 10 minutes later, they'll never mind cat 4, and I'm like, all right, this is pretty bad. Like we're kind of like, fuck, like what do we do? And yeah, I ended up saying category 5, but then as soon as it hit land, it immediately became only a category 1, so it wasn't too bad. So it was one of those moments which like we'll never forget it. It was definitely a great trip. We had a blast. But you could definitely tell there's a hurricane coming in, because you know how like in the like animated movies, like all the animals are running away. You're like, what the fuck? Why are all these animals running? Well, there's little creatures down there like iguanas and these like weird little they're weird little mammals. They like it's hard to describe what they look like, but it was weird. They're pretty cool though. But they're all just like with their families running away towards like the wood, the jungle. And I'm like, yeah, there's definitely a hurricane coming in right now.
Yeah, that's wild to me. That's wild. So you were supposed to fight at UFC 255, but you pulled out with an injury. And you just said that you've been rehabbing, you're getting healthy. Let everyone know what happened.
Yeah, it's hard to explain because I don't even really understand what happened itself. No, I was just training for the fight, getting ready because Nick Dalby, he's a tough competitor. He's been in the sport for a while, and I just told myself, hey, I'm going to make sure I'm the very best possible. I'm going to go in there, try to get the finish. If not the finish, go all 3 rounds very, very competitively. I was very excited looking towards that fight. And then all of a sudden, I remember I felt something pull during a training session in my back. And I was like, you know what? I better take the rest of the day off. And I felt fine. But then I went to bed, and like 30 minutes later, I woke up in like one of the worst pains I've ever felt since I was in high school, and had like a dislocated hip slightly with sciatica. Yeah, that one was a bitch too. That took a couple of months to heal because the sciatic nerve was pinched so bad. It just took time for it to release off that pinch. It had to decompress. But I woke up and I was like, oh, what the fuck? And I'm like trying not to wake up my wife. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I put my hand behind my head. I was like, all right, that's fine. And then I moved my arm again and just sheer pain. I was like, what the fuck? And I didn't sleep for like 4 days. I think the longest I'd sleep at a time would be like an hour to 2 hours. And then I'd be awake because of how much pain I was in. But I was completely numb all the way down from my neck, all the way through my arm. My ring, or not my ring, but my middle, index, and thumb were all completely numb. The forearm was completely numb. The tricep, shoulder, neck, and lat muscle, those were all completely numb, and I couldn't use them. It was weird. It was fucking weird, dude. Like the only position that felt fine was this. And, you know, I got a lot of massage work done, chiropractic work. And then eventually they're like, dude, you need to get an MRI. And it turned out there's like a lot more stuff that I was dealing with. And they said like it was like years worth of stuff that I was dealing with, to the point where they're like, are you sure it's your right side and not your left side? I was like, why? What are you talking about? Like, depends on the right side. They're like, well, according to our MRI, it's definitely more than just that. So we need to take a look. But, you know, the only thing I got tired of was the fact that all these doctors around here, they were like, hey, yeah, we'll take a look, but, you know, like, if you give us cash, we can see. And I'm thinking, all right, cool. Like, I want to get seen sooner. I want to figure this out sooner. But then, like, I remember one fucking meeting with this net specialist, just sitting there 45 minutes, just telling me, yeah, this is what your MRI said. This is what I recommend. And that's $300. And the next time you see me is going to be in a month. I want you to go and pay for an x-ray. I was like, well, you just did a compression test. You said the compression test would hurt. It didn't hurt. So obviously it's not a neck issue. It's nothing more than just like a pinched nerve issue. And he was like, well, it could be more. And I was like, whatever. Month comes by and he's like, yeah, it's going to be 150. I'm like, yeah, I'm not taking that meeting. So I just kept delaying that meeting. I was like, I'm not going to fucking talk to this guy. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. He's not actually telling me things I could be doing right now to fix it. So all the PT I did was all by myself. You know, I ended up going to Vegas to do the UFC PI. They gave me some stretches to do. They worked on it. They felt exactly how tight it was. And they just said like, hey, you know, more than likely from what you said from the MRI, because I showed them the MRI report on the neck and then the shoulder as well. I got a shoulder MRI and they said a suspected labral tear, but they weren't sure. And I said, well, what do you mean by you're not sure? Either you know or you don't know from the MRI. And they're like, well, it's suspected, but we don't know. And I'm like, fuck out of here, dude. Fuck out of here. And then before I even said fuck out of here, I actually did say fuck out of here to them. They try to tell me, we have a specialist we want you to go see. He takes cash only. You know, we refer people to him all the time. And I'm thinking, yeah, you refer because you get a percentage. I was like, fuck out of here, dude. I was like, I'm going to go do my own PT. And they were trying to tell me, don't lift weights for 6 months. Don't train. Don't run. Stay home. Take Vicodin. Take Norcos. They wanted me to take all these fucking pills. They were trying to get me like, not stem cell shots. They wanted me to get like steroidal shots. But then I was like, so you want me to get these shots and be dependent on it, then after a year have to do it again and just damage my self-worth? So, well, I mean, if you look at it like that, then sure. I'm like, you just said it yourself. If I look at it like that, then that's the way it is. So I just took a little bit of time off, started doing more light active stuff, you know, worked through the pain. Figured, hey, it's about time I got my wisdom teeth pulled. It's only been 10 years. So got those pulled out and yeah, just kept training and kept training. I feel stronger. I feel fast. I feel way better now than I did even when I was like training for the fight. I'm lifting more now. I'm faster than I was. And my endurance is actually pretty on par with what it was compared to, you know, the injury. So I think it's more so my body just pretty much said fuck off because I was training. I was training really hard 3-4 times a day, but I've restructured now to do my training to be 2 to 3 times a day, but have it in moderation, like heavy lifting just for strength. So if I strength train, that's it. There's going to be nothing else with it. But if I do endurance, then I have to go lighter on my jiu-jitsu and mitt work. So in the mornings, I'll go a little bit heavier on alpha male. In the middle of the afternoon, I'm going to leave an hour open to either do mitt work or jiu-jitsu, like no-gi and gi, just depending on what feels right for the day. And then at night, training like 3 times a week, pure strength training. And then 3 times a week, endurance training, with Sundays my rest day because the wife loves that day for our families.
So, I mean, so there was no official diagnosis. It kind of sounds to me that it was like your body just kind of shut down, and it was probably because you've been pushing it. I mean, like you fought 4 times in 2019, and you just like kept going, kept going. Is that maybe had something to do with it? Maybe
there's more to it. I just can't release all the information. But I mean, from what I can say, you know, is that I'm feeling a lot better. I'm doing a lot better. If the UFC hears this interview and they need to get me checked out by their doctor, fucking let's do it. I don't give a shit. Like, I just want to fight again. That's literally why I did the PT on my own. I pushed myself through all that fucking pain to be able to get back to where I am now. I was I just overtrained, man. I overtrained, and I found out I had a lot of injuries that in those areas for years. So I was fighting for years, with the potential just at any point I could have shut down. And that's just the point that it decided to shut down. But change up my training schedules, made it to where, I able to get more food in between. My hydration's a lot better and stuff like that. Not that it was an issue, but, adding more, like maybe like lemon oil or grapefruit oil to give it more flavor, to force myself to want to drink that water, because everyone knows water's bland. And if it's warm, it's a triangle, and if it's warm, it's a circle, or if it's cold, it's a triangle, or some stupid shit like that people say.
Gotcha. So your brother also fought on 255, and he lost. What
Yeah,
was the feeling like seeing your brother lose for the first time?
I was angry, dude. I was so fucking angry. No excuses. Hats off to that fucking other dude. Whatever. But no, the first round, I thought Lewis was going to finish it. I'm surprised they didn't stop the fight, but they didn't, and they kept going. And it wasn't that Lewis gassed himself out. I mean, after the fight, everyone already should have heard by now that Lewis had to get surgery on his shoulder because he's tore his labrum. So there's a potential chance he either tore it in the first round or he tore it during training camp. And so either way, he fought that fight, the rest of the fight, with the torn labrum. And now we're gonna see that maybe there's a potential he might have to get surgery on his other one. We don't know, but he'll recover. That's all I want. His first loss means nothing. I think that if those guys fight again, Lewis knocks his ass out. That's just my opinion. I think Lewis beats him. But I could tell something was wrong with his shoulder, because in the second round, he started holding his hand, and then I could call it too. I'd be like, look, he's using his left hand to help throw his right hand. He's having to use other body muscles to throw that on. I was like, something's off. And then it just went downhill from there. But I ain't gonna lie either, though. I was pretty pissed that the fucking ref was giving that guy so many goddamn warnings. Like, how many warnings do you get for grabbing the fence? How many warnings do you fucking get for holding the fence? You can't stop the fight and say, this is your last warning. No, if you stop the fight to issue a warning, that's a point right there. And then, the issue where Lewis kind of felt, disrespected at that point. I get it. He's the new guy. The other guy's the new guy, but there's things to do. I feel like Lewis should have went to the grappling aspects in the first round if he felt like something was off with his shoulder, and we'll learn from that. I already told him too, the next time he fights, I'm never going to allow him to fight without me in his corner again. The only reason I wasn't in his corner was so we could have some other guys in his corner that could be his training partners. But injured or not injured, I told him, I was like, you're going to be in my corner, I'm going to be in your corner, and that's just the fucking way it is, unless we're on the same card from here on out. And we both agree with that. We're better when we're able to hear each other. There's just something different to it. We're able to push each other more.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, that you weren't in his corner, and that was the first time you haven't been in his corner, correct?
I think only one other time where I wasn't in his corner, and he ended up, it was an amateur fight that he ended up losing as well a long time ago. But, he wasn't really training for that fight. He didn't really have any training partners for that fight. He wasn't taking it as serious just because it was an amateur fight. And then he actually had the opportunity to finish the fight in that one too. Kind of the same thing, just gassed out. But with this time around, it was completely different. You torn labrum, you can't fuck around with those, dude. You're working, and all of a sudden you feel like you're gassed, but you're not gassed. It's just that your muscles are trying to overcompensate so much to keep it going. So, the way I told him was like, hey, whatever else you got to get checked out, get it checked out. We got a long career ahead of us. It sucks that you lost your debut, but you lost your debut on the fight of the night. And I'm pretty sure it's the first time the opening fight has ever been fight of the night for the UFC. I could be wrong. So still proud of him though. He's being a good father right now. He's a great brother and taking care of his family, doing what he do to stay healthy. His PT is going great. And he's last I checked, I was just up there, so I got to see him. He said he was training the guys for the MMA fights, and he said like, the striking's okay, the grappling feels all right. He just can't do any throws or any like too big of movements right now. He's still taking his time, which is a smart thing to do. He's only 25 and a half. Like, he has a long time in this game, and his next fight when he's 100%, You're gonna see a whole different Lewis.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So looking forward to this year. What are your plans?
I want to get 4 fights before the end of the year. Just like I said before, I was hoping to actually have that fight in November because I wanted to fight in November. So if I didn't have an injury, I wanted to fight Dalby. I was looking to win that fight, and then I wanted to fight again at the end of December or mid-January, and then try to get a fight once every month to a month and a half. But I'm going to start doing things in seasons too, let my body recover when it needs to recover, but, still staying active. I want to try to fight. I'm hoping maybe mid-April, late April. We'll see what happens if they can get me on a card. I know they'll want to keep me in the States. They'll want to keep me in Vegas for now. And then, once Japan opens up, I got Dragon Ball Z tattoos. They better send my ass to Japan.
That you're going to Japan for sure. 100%. Do you still want that Nicolas Dalby fight or have you moved on?
No. I'd love to. That's a fight that I think is going to be very exciting. I know that he was looking forward to it too. Well, it's also a part of the fight game. Injuries happen. And somebody was talking to me about that just the other day. One of my buddies, they asked, would you want to fight Dalby? And I was like, fuck yeah, I'd want to fight Dalby. He just wanted, a good fight. He looked great. I was watching that fight. And I was thinking like, fuck it, like that should be me in there fighting that guy. Like I was so hyped to even watch that, even though I was like pretty bummed out my brother lost. But Dalby's a competitor, man. He's a vet in the sport, and I respect that. And he goes out there, he's not talking shit. I'm not going to talk shit unless he talks shit. We're just going to go out there and have fun. We're going to do our thing. And I would love to have that fight. But if Dalby did win, he's on a win streak right now with the UFC. So, if I come into the UFC, there's no reason for him. He doesn't have to say yes. I could fight somebody else, maybe another up and comer, or maybe somebody else like Rodriguez or Perry, or what's his fucking name? Force Mickey Gall to take fights because he's scared to get kicked out of the UFC. He loses one more, he's probably going to be out. It's just one of those things. I'm down to fight whoever. I just want to be able to be an exciting fighter for the fans. I want to go out there and finish fights. I'm not looking to dominate and win by a decision and then have the score be 30-26, 30-25. No, I want to go and finish the fight. My job as a fighter is to finish the fight no matter what round it is in.
That is spoken like Orion Cosce, man. I love it. I love it. What did you think of the welterweight title fight that happened last weekend?
Dude, you know what? I ain't gonna lie. I because I got unbanned from Twitter, I was like banned for like 2.5 months. And hey, hashtag cancel Orion Cosce was working, dude. Hashtag cancel Orion Cosce was fucking working, man. But it was pretty good. I honestly thought Burns had the potential to knock him out. I thought Burns kind of went a different route. Like he injured him. Like, why not keep the pressure? Why pull guard and then sit on your butt? It's like you literally just let this guy recover. Like we watched the Colby Covington-Kamaru Usman fight. If Covington wouldn't have pulled off the pressure, I think he could have had every chance to finish that fight. But Usman, he has really good recovery as well. We saw that again with the Burns fight. Burns let him recover, and then Usman just started killing him with those jabs. Like it's just going to be one of those things where you gotta beat the champ securely. We've seen that in multiple things, and even if you get excited, you gotta keep yourself composed. It is a fight, and Burns even said it himself after. Like I didn't watch the post-fight press conference. Some people try to ask like what I thought about his excuses, and I can't sit here and say he made any because I didn't watch it. I didn't listen. I don't care. From what I saw in the fight, he could have finished the fight had he just kept the pressure at a smart pace. Had he forced Usman against the cage, he was doing really good. But then he just started blowing his wad and missing the major shots. And then Usman recovered and did really good with getting the recovery and then finishing the fight. But I think that the next title shot, you got to take a look at a rematch between Covington and Usman. I don't understand why Jorge Masvidal would be even in the contention. He's 7-5 in his last 12. He just lost a fight, and I get it. He didn't have a full training camp. But who did he fight before that? He beat Nate Diaz for the baddest motherfucker title, a fake title. But in respect off to the, that was That was a fun fight to watch. This is a gangster ass fight. But Diaz is more of a 55er, I think. And, you know, looking up to Nick and Nate growing up, I always thought that Nate was just an 85-70. And then, you know, or my bad, Nick was an 85-70 with Nate being a 70 sometimes in a 55, depending on the matchup. I would like to just see Leon Edwards, though, fight Jorge Masvidal or Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and then have that be the number one contender fight, and then have Usman versus Covington Part 2.
How did you have that first fight scored?
Going into the final round, I had it. It just depends on how you look at it. I thought it was 2-2 going into the final round. I thought it was 2-2. But then I also said, you know, there's a potential chance it's 3-1 for Covington to one of the judges, you know, just because of pace. You know, there was definitely 2 rounds I could for sure score for Covington, but there was 1 round for sure that you would have to give to Usman. And then one of the rounds was so close, it's, what do you look at? Do you look at pressure? Do you look at efficiency? Just so many different things that you could have looked at. So from my, you know, perspective, I thought it was 2-2 going into that 5th. If I look at it from somebody who has to think, you know, these judges are a fucking bunch of cuckolds, then it might have been 3-1 one way, 3-1 the other way. You know, you never know what the fucking judges that, you know, NSAC and CSAC always picks. It's fucking ridiculous. Get people who know what they're doing.
Preach. But before I let you go, there was a Mortal Kombat trailer that came out. Did you have a chance to watch it?
Boom! Well, I wait. Me and my buddies are so fucking pumped for that. I'm gonna literally travel maybe 5 to 8 hours just because I gotta go pick up my friends, go to the movie theaters, and be ready for. I'm dressing up and everything. I don't give a fuck, nerd, geek, whatever. But I like to have fun with that shit. I dressed up for the fucking the Dragon Ball Z Broly movie when that shit came out. I had a whole entire fucking outfit.
That's right. So we got to end this with: are you a Sub-Zero or Scorpion guy? And who is your favorite Mortal Kombat character?
Fuck, that's tough. Shit. I'd have to say I'm pretty 50-50 on Sub-Zero and Scorpion, just because, you know, it's one of those things where one is the elements versus the ice and water elements, the other is hellfire and shit like that, and that's always just been a fun fucking like battle. So I can't really have a favorite on that part. You know, one of my buddies was a hardcore Scorpion fan, so I'm gonna pick Sub-Zero just to shit on his memory. But in all good fun. And then favorite character was Liu Kang growing up. Liu Kang and Johnny Cage, those are my favorite.
Good choices. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, Orion. I really appreciate it, and I'm really stoked that you're healthy, and I can't wait till you fight again. If you want to plug your social media and plug your sponsors, go right ahead, man.
Yeah, so shout out to my sponsors first and foremost. Get Right, Steph Dalkey Oils from doTERRA, Javier Arroyo for my chiropractic and massage work. You know, just let's see. And then my Iridium agency, they give me so many different people to help me out. So like boxing bands and all that stuff. There's just so many. Fuck. So I'm going to just say a shout out to like my team, like, you know, Alpha Male Lost Boys for like being able to, you know, stick by my side during the recovery and all that stuff. Gotta quit saying sounds unprofessional. And then Gray Bush Metal. You guys, if you haven't heard of Gray Bush, they're a metal band. If you guys are into metal, check them out. They're a family friend of mine. He's a guitarist in it. They just jam out. Fucking pretty badass too. And they got hopefully some new stuff coming out soon. They got a metal fest that they're going to be playing in Ukiah in August on the 21st. I made a post about that. So that's just Gray Bush. Just check them out. They got some cool fan art as well. They have a song about Ed Kemper. So if you know who Ed Kemper is, then check that shit out. Like, he's a sick fuck. And then, no, I'm just thankful for my job opportunity as well. Thanks to my coaches, you know, and then my recovery. Thank you, me, for recovering myself. And thankful for everything that I have, man. I ain't going to take anything for granted. My wife keeps me in good check too. Like, she helps me with my recovery. She'll bring me meals if I forget to bring food. And then I think that's about it. So social media, just Galaxy Cozy, guys. It's on Instagram. I barely check my Twitter. I fucking hate Twitter. Fuck you, Twitter. Hashtag cancel Orion Cosce. Please cancel me. Cancel me for the love of God. They canceled me once. They banned me, and I was happy. I even wrote them after they banned me. I said, I don't give a fuck. Go fuck yourself. Make it banned forever. I never want this shit again. And then 2 months later, email saying, hey, we unbanned you. I'm like, fuck you. I don't like Twitter. I don't care for it. I never have. I only had it for the fucking fight game. I really don't care about social media too much. Instagram, I just keep up with it for the fight fans and my family and friends back home. And then I get that, to have more fans and more sponsor opportunities, you got to have, social media nowadays. It's not, you can't just fight and people like you. You got to fight and post shit that people like. So I'm just going to keep being myself though. So fuck you guys. I'm going to keep being myself. I'm going to post stupid shit. Deal with the Dragon Ball Z's. And then, I started streaming on Twitch again. So if people want to play video games, PS4, my @ is Galaxy Cosce. And then I play like Call of Duty and Dragon Ball Z and shit like that. Just have fun. But my Twitch is also @ Galaxy Cosce, and I'll be trying to do that about like 2-3 times a week.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Of course. Hey, take care. It's always a pleasure, Alex. We'll chat soon. Once I get fight info, you'll be one of the first to know.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Take care.